Joining us on Parliament Television today, the 10th day in the month of July 2025. To be on live commentary, my name is Paul Sentindovi.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Claudette Sindaza Jonga, and on sign language, as usual, we have Chola Kauma and Jason Manda.
Let's quickly look at business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday when business resumed at 14:30. Madam Speaker did make announcements, and the first announcement that she made was to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Mambo Secondary School and from Top Notch Academy in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker did warmly welcome the guests to the Assembly.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker informed the House that in the preceding days there's been reports of confrontations at Kikonge gold mine in Mufumbwe district, northwestern province, between alleged illegal miners and police, which regrettably resulted in the loss of lives. In that regard, Madam Speaker did inform the House that she had permitted the Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to issue a ministerial statement on Thursday, 10th July 2025, to inform the House and the nation at large on the happenings in Mufumbwe district. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, conveyed her deepest condolences to the bereaved families.
After those announcements, the House did proceed to consider a ruling, and that was rendered by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker. And she did remind the House that on Tuesday, 1st July 2025, Mr. Movita Nakoka, Member of Parliament for Luena, raised a point of order as to whether the House was in order to remain silent in light of the Constitutional Court's pronouncement declaring the constitution-making process in Parliament as unconstitutional.
Madam Speaker informed the House the point of order raised the issue of one arm of government interfering with the operations of another arm of government. She further informed the House that ordinarily a point of order raised against the House was inadmissible, but due to the significance of the issues raised in this matter, she exercised her discretionary powers under Standing Order 141 to allow the point of order.
And after that, Madam Speaker did explain that the point of order was in relation to the Constitutional Court's judgment in the case of Munia Zulu and Celestina Mukandila versus the Attorney General 2025/CZ/009, where the Constitutional Court granted the petitioners the following reliefs. We declare that the decision by the respondent to initiate a constitutional amendment process without wider constitution goes against the spirit of Article 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 61, 90, 91, and 92 of the Constitution. And we order that the respondent complies with the spirit of constitution by ensuring a people-driven process led by an independent body, by experts, including wider consultations with the people.
Madam Speaker stated that having raised both the majority and minority judgments in the Munia Zulu case, she was of the considered view that the court did not declare the legislative process in the National Assembly of Zambia unconstitutional, but rather addressed the constitutionality of the process prior to the presentation of Bill 7 in the National Assembly. She further stated that by ordering the respondent to ensure a people-driven process led by an independent body of experts, including wider consultation with the people, the court was in essence ordering the respondent to stop the process which was already underway in the National Assembly.
In that regard, Madam Speaker opted not to delve into the issue of whether the Constitutional Court had usurped the legislative mandate of the National Assembly, as she was privy to another petition before the Constitutional Court regarding the same matter between Isaac Mwanza and the Attorney General under cause number 2025/CCZ/0013. Madam Speaker then proceeded to guide the House in the principle of exclusive cognizance, with the explained meant that Parliament had freedom to determine and regulate its internal procedures and proceedings without interference from external bodies, and referred to the following authorities. Claudette.
That's the Constitution of Zambia, Section 34 of the National Assembly, just to mention but a few. And Madam Speaker did say that in line with the doctrine of the exclusive cognizance, Madam Speaker stated that if the Honourable Minister of Justice, who was the sponsor of Bill 7, decided to proceed with the subsequent stages of the bill, the House would resume its consideration because the Constitutional Court or any other external body could not arrest a legislative process that had been set in motion and was under consideration in Parliament.
So that was the ruling that was rendered yesterday by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker, and the House did proceed to consider 2 urgent matters without notice, and the following matters were considered under Standing Order 142. The first one came from Mr. Christopher Kangombe, and this one was on the death of 3 alleged illegal miners at Matala Gold Mine in Nangoma parliamentary constituency, and this issue or this matter was inadmissible.
The other urgent matter that notice did come from Ms. Dr. Mwanza on why the Food Reserve Agency has delayed the purchase of maize from farmers in Kaombe parliamentary constituency. This one was inadmissible.
After that, the House considered questions for oral answer number 371, understanding order 80, and there was noting question 3, understanding order 81, and the reply was accordingly recorded in the daily parliamentary database.
Mr. Fube did move a motion that the House urges the government to introduce the debt swap for civil servants, and this motion was negatived. We also did have a ministerial statement that was delivered by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security on the protection of members of Parliament from online exploitation and scamming. And we did move on. The House did consider the supplementary estimates of expenditure number 1 of 2025. Consideration of the report was resolved that the report of the Committee of Supply be adopted by the Minister of National Finance and National Planning.
And there was a supplementary appropriation 2025 bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2025. The bill seeks to authorize supplementary expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of monies required for the service of the Republic during the financial year ending 31st December 2025, not exceeding in the aggregate 33,577,125,966 kwacha. It was presented by the Minister of National Planning, and first time to be read today, which is 8th. Which is the National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2025.
Mr. Lusha also moved a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Cabinet Affairs on the review of the management and operations of the Office of the Public Protector for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 3rd July 2025. And it being 1925 hours, Madam First Deputy Speaker interrupted the proceedings and debate stood adjourned.
So basically, that's the business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday. Let's quickly look at business that is expected to be considered on the floor of the House. Anytime from now, we'll be able to see the presiding officer making their way to the chamber. That will signify the commencement of today's business. Until then, we now quickly excite you to what is on today's order paper.
We're expecting 2 ministerial statements. The first one is going to come from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security on the loss of lives following a clash between illegal miners and police at Kikonge Gold Mine in Mufumbwe district.
The other ministerial statement is expected to come from the Minister of Green Economy and Environment. This one is on the heavy metal poisoning of the Mwiimbi stream and Kafue River in the Copperbelt province.
We do expect Mr. Mutinta to move a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Local Government, Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs on the report of the Auditor General on the construction, rehabilitation and maintenance of urban and peri-urban drainages 2020 to 2023 for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th July 2025.
We expect 3 bills coming up at second reading stage, 2 at second reading stage, and 1 is coming up at third reading stage. And this is the Supplementary Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2025, coming up at second reading.
The other bill that's coming up at second reading stage is the Animal Health Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2025.
The Closed Circuit Television Public Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2025, is coming up at third reading stage today.
After that, we have resumption of debate on the report of the Committee on Cabinet Affairs on the review of the management and operations of the Office of the Public Protector.
So basically, that's the business for today. Anytime from now, we'll be able to see the Right Honourable Madam Speaker making way to the chambers. You can see on the screen that signifies as the commencement of today's business. Claudette and I will be on hand to give you live commentary. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Honourable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
And sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry, dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remain we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Well, thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. The bells are ringing, which means that there is no quorum on the floor of the House. It is a requirement that 1/3 of the total number of members of Parliament be present for any business to be considered on the floor of the House. So today, we expect two ministerial statements to be presented by two cabinet ministers, and the first is coming from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security on the loss of lives following a clash between illegal miners and police at Kikonge Gold Mine in Mufumbwe district.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members, I have 3 announcements. The first one, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Angela's Primary School in Ndola District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rainbow School Limited in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I also wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Mwiimbi School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. Technology. The next item is urgent matters without notice. The honorable member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, farmers across the country, particularly those in the northern part of Zambia, have transported their maize to various satellite centers in readiness to sell to FRA. However, Madam Speaker, on the date that was earlier communicated by FRA to commence purchasing of maize, FRA had not yet started purchasing the maize. Up to now, the farmers are stuck with their maize at various FRA centers. I therefore direct this matter with urgent matter without notice to the Minister of Agriculture as to when the Food Reserve Agents, Madam Speaker, will commence buying maize from farmers who have already taken their maize to satellite centers. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope that yesterday the honorable member from Pika was in the House and he was listening to the urgent matters without notice that were being raised, and that happens to be one of them, and he was advised to put in an urgent question. So please, let's not repeat urgent matters. That's why we should be listening attentively to the proceedings of the House, so that we don't raise similar matters. So the matter is not admitted. The honorable member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, my matter without notice is directed to the Minister of Energy. Madam Speaker, the country is experiencing escalating cases of vandalism of ZESCO infrastructure, which is leading to prolonged electricity outages, loss of property, and even fatalities. Madam Speaker, the power utility is losing approximately 1.5 million kwacha per week as a result of escalating cases of vandalism, transformers, cables, just to mention but a few. In the last 24 to 48 hours, Madam Speaker, the company has lost more than 500,000 kwacha as a result of vandalism. I was on the copper belt just a few days ago. You find that For 3 days, people could not even have power because of vandalism. Although the law punishes these individuals by 10 years with hard labor, but the cases has continued to escalate. Is the Minister of Energy in order to keep quiet without coming to this August House to update the nation what immediate, medium, and long-term measures the government is taking to deal with this particular matter, because it's supporting the economy and also economic activities? I seek your indulgence.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Chairman North. That issue that you have raised is not of recent occurrence. It has been ongoing. So I'll advise that you put in a question, and then the Honorable Minister will address it. The Honorable Member for Bangweru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The urgent matter is directed at the Minister of Tourism. Madam Speaker, last night, a pride of lions was spotted in Rumamia ward of Bangweru constituency, bordering Milenge and Chitambo constituency. And these pride of lions were believed to have strayed from Luangwa National Park. I'm directing this matter the Minister of Tourism to ensure that they put strategies in place, or rather send the ZAWA to ensure that lives are not lost. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Bangweru. Again, that issue has been ongoing. It's been raised on several occasions on the floor of this House. And I remember advising or guiding that there was a committee that was going to be set to look into these issues. So even if you raise the matter, Honorable Member for Bangweru, at this moment, I don't know whether I want the Honorable Minister to go and slaughter those lions, or there is no solution that can happen here and now. We need to have long-term strategies, and all of us, honorable members, working together with the Honorable Minister of Tourism to see how we can avert this problem. Because if you just look at the neighboring countries, you go to Botswana, animals and human beings are living in harmony with each other. Of course, you can't stop a few fracas here and there. Just in Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, animals are there living in harmony with people. But the problem that I've seen on our part in Zambia is that when people see an elephant, they start throwing stones at it, provoking it. And it's an animal. It doesn't have senses to say that these people are scared of me or what. It will retaliate. So let's make sure that let's ensure that we have resources. I think the only issue that is delaying us is funding, so that this select committee can look at measures on how we can sensitize people, our communities, to start living in harmony with animals. I think that is the only solution. Thank you very much. So that is two, three already. We've dealt with three, so the others, unfortunately, do not qualify to be requested to raise their urgent matters without notice. So we make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to issue a ministerial statement on the loss of lives following a clash between illegal miners and police at Kikonge Gold Mine in Mufumbwe district. Madam Speaker, we would like to express our sincere condolences to the families of the deceased persons following a clash between illegal miners and police at Kikonge Gold Mine in Mufumbwe district. May their souls rest in peace. Madam Speaker, on 6th July 2025, I, in the company of my colleague, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Ambrose Luigi Rufuma, and the Provincial Minister for Northwestern Province, Honorable Robert Lihefu, including senior officials from my ministry, as well as defense, undertook a fact-finding visit to Mufumbwe district in the Northwestern Province, following heightened reports of illegal mining activities in Kikonge area of the district. Madam Speaker, the brief facts are that on 3rd July 2025, at Kikonge gold mine site, illegal miners mobilized in order to attack the deployed police officers at the camp. The House may wish to note that over 50,000 illegal miners had descended on the site to partake in the illegal gold mining activities. The situation escalated and the officers' lives were under imminent threat. Police attempted to restore order by using tear gas canisters and rubber bullets, but the mob continued to charge on the officers. Further, warning shots were fired to restore order, but the mob became unruly and continued to attack the officers with offensive weapons. A total of 12 officers were injured after they were attacked by the irate mob of illegal miners. In an effort to disperse the mob, 3 people were shot in the legs and sustained gunshot wounds. They later died due to what is believed to be excessive bleeding. All the injured police officers are out of danger, except 2 who are still admitted in hospitals. Madam Speaker, Cap 107, Section 24, Part C, authorizes police officers to maim where the officers' lives are in danger. Madam Speaker, the safety and well-being of our citizens is our primary responsibility as Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. We have noticed with regret that illegal miners have continued to die in large numbers as they are not following safety protocols from 2023 to date. Madam Speaker, from 2023 to date, the country has lost more than 100 lives through illegal mining. For example, in August 2024, 9 illegal miners died in Chongwe district. October 2024, 38 illegal miners died in Chingola when the earth collapsed on them. In Mwiimbi, 27 illegal miners died as a result of illegal mining, and recently in Mufumbwe district, the area under discussion, 8 illegal miners died when the trench collapsed. Madam Speaker, the safety and security of our community is our top priority, and we will not tolerate any form of criminal activity. Our police officers will continue to work closely with the other law enforcement agencies to prevent and combat crime and to ensure that our community remains safe and secure places for all. To ensure the safety of our people, we have taken the following measures. 1, deploying police officers to cordon and deter illegal mining. 2, in collaboration with other defense and security wings, use of drones to monitor the sites. 3, sensitizing communities on the dangers of illegal mining. And 4, engaging with local communities to encourage reporting of illegal mining activities. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the Zambia Police Service, supported by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security and other security wings of government, remains resolute in its commitment to maintaining law and order. Our priority is to ensure the safety and security of all citizens. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, the people of Kamfinsa are grateful for the opportunity to direct a point of clarification, or what should I call it, a follow-up question to the Minister of Home Affairs. Minister, I know you're dealing with issues of safety, issues of public order, but I'm aware that, Madam Speaker, the number of people you have mentioned who have died in these mining activities, the number is alarming. Minister, are you confirming that the interventions that have been put in place, from a policy point of view, from action reports that have been given to your ministry, to the office of the Minister of Mines, are you confirming that all these measures have actually failed to yield any proper results to safeguard not only our people, Madam Speaker, but to give them an opportunity to participate in mining? Because, Madam Speaker, our people are participating in these activities because they want to earn a living. So, Minister, are you confirming from the numbers you've just reported in your statement, are you confirming that policy by government has failed to resolve these challenges? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to state that this government of the UPND, led by His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, has endeavored to ensure the safety of our citizens by ensuring that we put measures in place that will enable our people to mine safely. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, we have leaders in this country who thrive on measures that hinge on illegality. We are aware, Madam Speaker, that even issues that have occurred in Mufumbwe are not without the orchestration of leaders. We are aware, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, are they the only leaders? Are you the only leaders? When I say leaders, Madam Speaker, I'm talking about leaders in the country. But I've noted that the guilty ones are shouting. I'm talking about leaders. Madam Speaker, we have evidence. We have evidence, Madam Speaker, where leaders have mobilized members of the public in hordes to go and mine in Mufumbwe from all over the country. From all over the country. Unless they are saying that they are the only ones who have been mobilizing. I'm talking about leaders. I haven't pointed or apportioned any blame on anybody. I'm talking about leaders. Only those who are guilty, especially from those where the wind of change is blowing, are guilty. Madam Speaker, I'm calling upon members of the public, and especially leaders, to be responsible. To be responsible. We are aware of leaders who have been leaving people in Mufumbwe to gain access to the mining site. We are aware. And I haven't said they are from the opposition or from the ruling party. I'm talking about leaders of the community, and the evidence is there. We should desist from encouraging our members from engaging in criminal activities. We should desist from both sides. We should not do that. We have lost too many lives in this country. We are talking of more than 100 souls that have been lost through illegal mining. And we should all, as leaders, search our souls and reflect on what is happening in the country. And the numbers we are talking about, the 100, is not the actual number. There are people who have died in those trenches who have not been identified and whose bodies have not been retrieved. We should be responsible. Our policies have not failed. Our policies have not failed, Madam Speaker. What has failed us is the irresponsible leadership of various political parties, civic organizations, and traditional leaders who are encouraging people to do illegal things. This government has not failed. We have given more than 600 artisanal licenses so that people can mine in a lawful manner. That is being responsible. We are being responsible by ensuring that people should not be involved in illegal activities and dying in numbers. We are responsible. If we are not responsible, we would have been allowing people to mine illegally and dying in hordes and numbers. We have said no. That is responsibility. And that is what a responsible government should do. So, as far as we are concerned, we have not failed. We have shown the nation that we are responsible. That's why we have taken security personnel to stop people from mining and dying in numbers recklessly. We will not allow that.
Thank you very much. There was an indication for a point of order. What's the point of order?
It's been overtaken, Madam Speaker. It's when the minister was not answering the question.
No,
so,
but honorable members, order. Let's not raise points of orders when the honorable minister is in the midst of answering the question, because then we are preempting, because the effect of raising the point of order has been overtaken by events. Why? Because the minister was still in the process of answering the question. So let's pay attention to the answers. The next will be the honorable member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Minister. Honourable Minister, thank you very much for the statement. And hearing from your statement, you have given quite a number of statistics in terms of the injured, the dead, and of course, those that have died through illegal mining. Honourable Minister, my question is, whilst you were preparing this statement, did you bother or look at the need of informing this House and the nation at large as to the numbers of the civilians or illegal miners who were injured in that fracas, and indeed the extent of the damage to property such as vehicles? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member of Parliament for Ron, for that question. Madam Speaker, I would like to confirm that a number of people have been injured, including security officials. A number of vehicles and equipment were damaged as a result of the fracas that occurred in Kikonge and various other areas.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Lunte, Honourable Member for Ron, please, you can switch off the mic. The Honourable Member for Lunte.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I appreciate your coming to the House with this statement. It's an important one. Allow me to offer my heartfelt condolences to the families who lost their loved ones in this fracas, and also wish the Zambia Police Service members who were injured a very quick recovery. Honorable Minister, the deaths that you have highlighted join a long series of Zambians who have been killed by the Zambia Police Service for various reasons, including my own nephew, Ernest, who was shot dead in Matero by Zambia Police. Honorable Minister, how do you reconcile these killings by the Zambia Police with your government's abolition of the death sentence? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm aware that 3 people died in Kikonge as a result of what transpired. But I'm also aware that these are not the only, they are not the only civilians who have died at the hands of Zambia Police. With your permission, Madam Speaker, Honorable Member for Lunte, who was a member of cabinet under the previous government, under PF, a number of Zambians were killed who were not involved with any fracas with the Zambia Police Service. Samansama was killed by the police while walking from his office to have a meal near the Ministry of Justice. By the police under your government. Whom do you blame? Mapenzi Chibulo, madam, was killed by the Zambia police innocently, without any provocation, during the reign of the PF. A number of the UPND members were killed. You are reminding me of those days which we will never forget in this country. Madam Speaker, for us, we have never had an incident where the police, without any provocation, shoot anybody. It has never happened. Unless there is an issue or confrontation between members of the public and the police, as what happened in Kikonge. But under their reign, Madam Speaker, members of the public lost lives through the police without any confrontation whatsoever. And they have never apologized to this country until they lost the elections. Even after losing elections, they still blame those who died. Those people. They have never apologized to the nation. For us, we have said we regret that it happened. But our police are professional, unlike when they were ruling. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah.
Honorable Member for Bangwell, what's the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the question was reconciliation between the abolition of death sentence and the killings in Mufumbwe. That question was not answered. Now, my point of order, Madam Speaker, is this. The minister has just alluded to the fact that there were a number of people who were killed by the police in the previous regime. And we have also seen a number of people who have been killed by the police in this regime, In Mufulira by ZNS, I can give you a written of examples, Madam Speaker. Is the honorable member, the minister, in order to be biased in the manner is trying to put these things in straight? That is coming understanding order 71, is not being truthful. Is the minister in order, Madam Speaker, to keep on bringing old issues? But my point of order is he in order to mislead the nation to say that those who were killed, the police had reason to kill, these ones have no reason to kill. Killing is killing, Madam Speaker. And no any government sends police to kill its citizen. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Member for Bango, you have raised a point of order, but in a way, trying to ask a question. So I'll ask the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs to respond to you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, he raised the question.
Order, honorable members. Honorable member for Bangor, you raised the question. You were. It was I've already guided. So the honorable minister will answer your question because you put in a question. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
First and foremost, I would like to inform the member pertaining to the decision of abolishing of the death sentence. The death sentence, the abolition, relates to a matter that has gone through court process, and when somebody is convicted, he is sentenced to death in accordance with the law. And the president, as a result of his consideration and accepting the international norms and the pleas of the church in Zambia, decided to abolish the death sentence. Totally different from being killed by security forces. You cannot abolish killing by security forces. You can't. That's a different, totally different matter. Coming to the issue which is raised, whether we are trying to justify, we have not justified anything here. We have indicated that under this regime, the only death that has occurred is when there's a confrontation by members of the public and the police. And he brought in a matter of the Zambia National Service. For your own information, Member of Parliament for Bangweuru, the Zambia National Service is not a police service. It's an armed force of the Republic of Zambia. Maybe you are not aware. Under the Ministry of Defense. So I cannot answer that matter. But I'm aware of what transpired. But I would not want to answer, because that's not my responsibility. It's for the Minister of Defense if you want him to answer. But I will want to state once again that this government is a responsible government. Unlike your government, where members of the public were being killed without any cause.
The Honorable Member for Mwiimbi.
Madam Speaker, thank you so very much for this opportunity to ask the Honorable Minister of Internal Security a follow-up question. Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters is one of the committees that looks at the mining sector. And we were deployed by the Madam Speaker to go and learn lessons in Tanzania, where they've had illegal mining. And from that point, the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Mines have worked together to make sure that not only security is deployed to those areas where illegal mining illegal mining is discovered or minerals are discovered, but they've worked together to make sure the police, but also the Office of the Ministry of mines and mineral resources are also deployed. And the report was presented on this floor of the House on the lessons that the committee went and learned so that we can prevent such things from happening. So from the point of the Ministry of Home and Home Affairs and Internal Security, what lessons did you pick that you can employ so that these things do not happen in the future? I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to give a historical perspective and also draw an analogy pertaining to what happens in other countries. For those who are not aware, I would like to inform you that in the reign of the UNIP regime, similar instances were happening in the Emerald area on the Copper Belt. The Emerald area was declared a restricted area and was guarded by the paramilitary. To access the Emerald area, you had to have a pass issued by the security wings. We are going to ensure we also declare certain areas, restricted areas, to ensure that the public benefits from the mineral endowment of the country. The area which is under discussion, Kikonge, we are going to zone it and declare it a restricted area. Once it's declared a restricted area, members of the public would not have free access to that particular area. After the declaration, the Ministry of Mines will move in and map out the areas that can be given out to members of the public. But it will still remain a restricted area so that we do not allow members of the public to be entering those areas without authority. In Botswana, Madam Speaker, in the area where they mine diamonds, members of the public have no free access. It's a restricted area. You can't enter there unless you have been given or granted permission by government. In Angola, where they mine diamonds, you cannot access the area because it's a restricted area. And as a result of the restrictions that have been imposed in Botswana, in Angola, the country is enjoying the endowments of the minerals. And there is no way illegal miners are mining in those areas. Currently, Madam Speaker, the government of the Republic of Zambia is not benefiting from the mineral endowment because of the illegal mining. The buyers of the gold in Chama, in Rufunsa, in Mpika, in Kansensele, in Mufumbwe are not Zambians. The buyers are foreigners. After buying the gold, they take out that mineral without the government gaining anything from our minerals. The mineral endowment, Madam Speaker, if we harness it properly, will benefit everyone in this country. And that is the intention of this responsible government. to ensure that the people of Zambia benefit. You may not be aware, honorable colleagues, that the Ministry of Finance has created a vehicle that will be used to purchase gold and other precious minerals in this country. And this vehicle will be in place very soon. And we are also putting in place small-scale gold processing equipment in various areas. Pika, Ruang, Rufunsa, Eastern Province, wherever the mineral endowment is. As we endeavor to do that, we shall ensure that security is provided. We need to do that, not just for the benefit of a few individuals, but the whole country. That is what we are going to do, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member from Pika.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the government has a responsibility to license its citizens in areas of mining under the artisanal mining licenses. The challenge that our people face, Madam Speaker, is the distance from wherever they are to come to Lusaka and get mining licenses. We have a crisis, Madam Speaker, and the solution could lie in decentralizing the licensing systems and also ensuring that there is provision of training and funds. By deploying the military to these areas, obviously there will be confrontation and more lives will be lost. But if licensing equipment is taken to Mpika, the people will be going there to get licenses. And by the time the military go there, they will find everyone is licensed. This is what you promised the Zambian people, Honorable Minister. Is the government considering taking that route of decentralizing the licensing system in order to cut on the costs that are associated with acquiring mining licenses to ensure that everyone who is running away from poverty to go and venture into mining has a license, does not mine illegally? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I wish that question was targeted to the Minister of Mines. But as a responsible member of government, I will respond, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this responsible government brought a bill on the floor of this House to create the Mineral Commission. And the Mineral Commission, Madam Speaker, has been approved by this House. And once we operationalize this Minerals Commission, the issue that is being raised by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Mpinka will be addressed. We will have decentralized committees dealing with this particular issue. We have already dealt with that matter. Being a forward-looking, responsible government. We have done that, Madam Speaker, because we care for our people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chitambo. Honourable Member for Chitambo, just a moment. There is a point of order. Honourable Member for Mwiimbi, what's the point of order?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I'm very, very compelled. I rarely stand on point of orders. And the point of order is to the Honourable Minister of Internal Security, Home Affairs and Internal Security. I innocently asked a question here. The Honourable, that's bridge number, standing order number 71. And 65, I mean. And the Honourable Minister has categorically indicated what is happening in other countries in regards to what they are doing when it comes to making sure that the resources of their respective countries are protected. The Honourable Minister, being the Minister of Internal Security, has the powers that are vested in him by this country and the nation at large to make sure that the resources are protected. Is the Minister of Internal Security in order to continue allow illegal mining when they can prevent that by making sure that those areas are protected so that even my children in Mwiimbi can benefit from the mining that is happening in Kikonge? Is the Minister of Internal Security in order to continue allowing mining in Kikonge, in Mufumbwe, in Kansenseli, where illegal mining is happening? And he has learned lessons from Botswana, Angola, Tanzania, and so many other countries that he has been to make sure that these resources are protected, Madam Speaker, so that children that are growing up in the rural constituencies like mine can also harness from the resources of this country. Is the Minister of Internal Security in order to provoke me by mentioning all that without putting measures in place that illegal mining, immediate measures, so that illegal mining is stopped immediately? Madam Speaker, I seek your, and he's laughing, I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker. I submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Mwiimbi. From where I'm seated, I thought I heard the minister saying that they are going to restrict the places. There is the Minerals Commission that is going to be established. So we are looking at short-term, mid-term, and long-term measures that can be taken. Of course, the immediate measure would be to secure the place by ensuring that there are no people there. Secondly, to establish all those commissions and all the other things. So I think the Honorable Minister is in order. He can't disclose everything the government wants to do. Otherwise, the illegal miners will find another way to make sure that they continue. So let's just help the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Minister of Defense, the Honorable Minister of Mines, including the Honorable Minister of Environment and Green Economy, to ensure that the environment where this mining is happening is also protected. Because from the videos that I saw, heaps and heaps of soil that are accumulating, trees being cut, and we just came out of a drought. So all these measures are long-term measures which should be taken into, the impact is long-term. So please, let's protect our environment as we try to benefit from the mineral resources that have been endowed on us. So I think all of us have to take that responsibility. So the Honorable Minister was in order, Honorable Member for Mwiimbi. Honorable Member for Chitambo, you have the floor.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, God is also in Chitambo. And the riots that we are discussing today did happen in Chitambo. And I'm so grateful to the Minister of Central Province for the quick action to prevent damages to property. But Madam Speaker, being a Chitambo resident and having experienced that riot and having seen what kind of damage that occurred, I'm at pains to hear the minister today here disclose that actually these illegal miners are not on their own. There are certain leaders who mobilize them. My question to you, Minister, is, are you going to mention these leaders and what are you going to do to these leaders so that we can stop this illegal mining? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I respond to the question that has been posed by my colleague, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chitambo, I just want to buttress the point I made earlier pertaining to declaring areas restricted areas. When we declare, it will follow that we shall put all the necessary security measures in place to ensure that no one gains access without authority. We'll do that. Even now, we have put certain measures in all the areas. We have put security measures in Pika, in Chitambo, in Kasenseri, in Chingola, in all the areas, and in Mufumbwe. But immediately we put necessary legislation to restrict these areas, we'll be enhancing the security arrangements. Madam Speaker, the rules of this House are very clear, that we are not allowed to name individuals who are not in the House. But we are aware of those people, Madam Speaker, and we are doing the investigation. If it was a press briefing, I would have named them. I know some of them. I know them. We'll do that and we'll take appropriate action.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I can only say condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones whilst they were trying to make ends meet. It's really sad that our youths lost their lives in that Kikonge mining saga with the police. Honorable Minister, all powers are vested in the President of the Republic of Zambia. When killings were happening during the Patriotic Front, Her Honor the Vice President and all of you blamed the killings on Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Today, your police have killed people in Kikonge mining area. Yes, they say luck falls on the laps of a fool. Instead of harnessing what can help us to stop borrowing, a lot of gold is being taken away. At your watch, the question that I have for you, those people who lost their lives, are you going to blame them on Hakainde Hichilema today? I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I hope the Honorable Member of Parliament for Lundazi is not going to be emotional and is not going to react to what I'm going to say. Yeah. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament has brought the name of the date into our discussion. And I will not shy away to respond to what you have said. And I will draw analogies to the issues that happened under the reign of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, whom you have brought into this discussion. And I'm going to say this. Madam Speaker, under the reign of the late Chagwa Lungu, while we were representing the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, at Central Police Headquarters, Police Headquarters, we were inside there, quietly being interviewed. The police, under the reign of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, started shooting people outside. Without any provocation. Without any provocation. People were shot under the reign of the late Chagwa Lungu. Under the reign of Chagwa Lungu, Chipenzi Chibulo, who was having a stroll along Kamwara Road, was shot by the police under the reign of Chagwa Lungu. Under the reign of Chagwa Lungu, we are aware of so many people who were shot. under Chagwalungu. Under the reign of President Hakainde, we had the shooting in Kikonge, which arose out of rioting by those people. And there was a fight between the illegal miners and Zambia police. And Zambia police have a duty to defend themselves according to the law. Themselves there, they had to defend themselves according to the law which I read. But under Chagwalungu, which law did you use to kill Nsamansama, who was going for lunch along Independence Avenue? What law? What law was used to kill Mapenzi Chibulo, a lady who had no confrontation with the police, who had not violated any law? And Lawrence Banda in Kaom. What law did they offend for them to be killed? Apart from the impunity of the leaders who didn't care for the life of those who lost. The former regime, Madam Speaker, was the cruelest regime in the history of this country. For the first time during the reign of Chagwalungu, we saw bloodshed in this country. We will never forget, Madam Speaker. Never. Don't remind us of the heinous acts that were done by Chagwalungu. We have respect for the dead, but you have made us to respond to the issues that were done during that period. Even at the graveyard, people were being maimed in church by that regime that lost power. And I'm made to understand that as a result of their unpopularity, Madam Speaker, they are failing to find the candidates. In Kasempa, they had no candidate. In Mfumbwe, they had to look for people in the street because they had nobody. Because the people of Zambia don't want them. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Order, honorable members. You know, some of these things we find it's very uncomfortable for us to sit in and listen to them. So please, let's avoid going that route. That route that we are taking from both sides, we will ask a question and then you expect an answer. I think it's uncomfortable for most of the members in this House. Honorable Member for Lundazi, please, you've asked a question. The rules are very clear. Yeah, but this idea of you ask and then the rules, if you read the rules very clearly, now you are engaging me, I will refer you to a standing order and then you also render your own sanctions. You may leave. You may leave and go for the committee. I'm not saying you will be deemed not to have sat. Okay. So let's make progress. I've also permitted the Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Madam Speaker, I rise to provide an update on the heavy metal pollution on the Kafue River and Mwambashi stream and how to ensure the safety of the people living in the affected areas. Madam Speaker, let me start by thanking you for according me an opportunity to render this ministerial statement. Madam Speaker, I wish to update this august House on the series of activities that have happened in order to deal with the pollution incident at Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited. On 21st February 2025, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency issued an environmental restoration order to Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited. One key requirement in the order was for Sinometals Leach Zambia to hire an independent environmental consultant to render a comprehensive environmental impact assessment report which would define the extent of the pollution. Madam Speaker, on 29th March 2025, a consulting firm by the name of Drizit was hired by Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited and started conducting the environmental impact assessment. Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited was expected to submit the final report by 2nd May 2025. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, along the way, the two parties had a dispute which led to the termination of the contract on 27th May 2025. Following this termination, Madam Speaker, the government had to step in and took over the process by invoking Section 107 of the Environmental Management Act. Accordingly, Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited was notified of this takeover on 16th June 2025, and I also issued a statement to the media to update the nation on this development the following day on 17th June 2025. Madam Speaker, during this entire period, my ministry has been collaborating with other relevant line ministries and government departments in monitoring and addressing the environmental pollution incident that occurred due to the embankment failure of tailings dam TD15F that occurred in Karurushi district on 18th February 2025. Madam Speaker, the preliminary investigations by the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, have established the presence of heavy metals in the soils and water bodies extending from the point of pollution through to the Kafue River. Nonetheless, the pH levels have shown signs of recovery due to lime dosing and the natural buffering capacity of the water bodies. A detailed assessment of the extent and types of the heavy metals will soon be commissioned, as the Zambia Environmental Management Agency is currently running an advert calling for expressions of interest for competent and qualified experts to undertake a thorough and comprehensive assessment. Madam Speaker, may I take this opportunity to extend an invitation to all well-meaning Zambians with the relevant capabilities and expertise to come on board and express interest for consideration in this process. I want to guarantee and assure this House that the engagement of a consultant has been opened up for purposes of transparency and inclusivity as we respond to this pollution incident. Madam Speaker, in ensuring that the safety of the people living in the affected areas is safeguarded, my ministry, in collaboration with the relevant line ministries and government departments, has put in place the following measures. A, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, directed Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited to provide alternative potable water to the affected communities along Chambeshi Stream and Chambeshi Stream and Mwambashi River. This is being done by Sinometals Leach Zambia Limited through Nkana Water and Sanitation Company using water bowsers. This intervention will continue until water in Chambeshi Stream and Mwambashi River is declared safe for human consumption. B, in addition, my ministry, working with the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock and the polluter, have initiated the process of collecting fish samples that will be taken to the laboratory for testing. C, Madam Speaker, my ministry recognizes the urgent need to undertake immediate and comprehensive cleanup operations in the affected areas, particularly in response to the visible pollution that continues to pose a serious threat to public health, livelihoods, and integrity of our ecosystems. I'm pleased to report that Sino-Metals Leach Zambia Limited, under the supervision of Zambia Environmental Management Agency, has already commenced cleanup activities for the pollution that is visible. This process is currently ongoing, notwithstanding the fact that the assessment report has not yet been submitted. Should the assessment report reveal that the areas subject to the current cleanup exercise still contain the polluted effluent, Sino-Metals Leach Zambia Limited will be required to re-clean the said areas. Madam Speaker, in terms of the medium to long-term interventions, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, working with Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit and other relevant stakeholders, will develop guidelines for tailings storage facilities, facility emergency preparedness plans to improve readiness and response time for future pollution incidences. Additionally, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, working with the Water Resources Management Authority, WAMA, and other water utility companies, have commenced pollution hotspot mapping with the support of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The initiative will facilitate for the establishment of a baseline for ambient water quality and sediments, heavy metals, on the Copper Belt with a focus on pollution hotspot areas. This initiative will cover 9 districts, which are Chingola, Lufanyama, Kitwe, Karurushi, Chilelawombwe, Ndola, Luansha, Masaiti, and Mpongwe. As you may wish to note, Madam Speaker, the geographical coverage of these interventions goes way beyond the area affected by the pollution by Sino-Metals Leach Zambia Limited. This is in order for us to establish a comprehensive baseline of the pollution status on the Copper Belt. Madam Speaker, this intervention started on the 1st of July 2025 and is expected to end on the 25th of July 2025. We expect to have comprehensive results of the baseline by 30th July 2025. Madam Speaker, my ministry reaffirms its unwavering commitment to restore the environment, prevent future pollution, and safeguard the health and well-being of our citizens. We will also ensure that those responsible for pollution are held accountable and that remedial measures are undertaken without any delays. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Green Economy and the Environment. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam, thank you for a chance to make a clarification. Honorable Minister, I'm pleased that you rendered that ministerial statement, and in it, you stated, you personally called for interested and qualified entities to bring, you called them for expression of interest. Observing that calling for expression of interest is an operational issue, and that you may be operating at police level. I would like to find out which powers you have used to personally call for expression of interest. Thank you, Madam.
The Honourable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I also want to thank the Member of Parliament for Lunte, Honourable Mutoto Kafwaya, for that question. Madam Speaker, I've used the powers under the Environmental Management Act, Section 107, which permits government to take over the process in a time like this one. And like I said, this was communicated to the nation through my engagement with the media on 17th of June. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chimwemwe.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, you know that Mwiimbi stream passes through Chimwemwe, and that's a rural part of Chimwemwe. And most of our rural people depend on fishing. Ever since that pollution, they stopped fishing. So as a result, they do not have any livelihood means of making any money. Honourable Minister, has Seno Metals compensated these people? And will it continue to give them relief funds? Because these people cannot continue fishing. That's the only business they're able to do, and a bit of farming. And already you know that because of the pollution, they're unable to grow anything, because the heavy metals that are already in the stream continue affecting the fertility of the soil. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was being very attentive because this is one member of Parliament. When he's speaking, you really have to be very attentive because of the slang. So thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the Member of Parliament, Honourable Alan Banda for Chimwemwe, for that question. Madam Speaker, in the Environmental Restoration Order, which was issued on the 21st of February, one of the directives was that the polluter must compensate the affected community members, and that will be done. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chipili.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I want to find out from you whether currently the water is safe for our people to drink and use, those who live along that area. If not, have you given them the alternative where they could be drawing water? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank Honourable Chala, Member of Parliament for Chipili, for that question. Madam Speaker, when this incident happened, the quality of the water was obviously affected in terms of being affected by the acidic pollution. So government, working together with various stakeholders, including the company in question of this incident, Seno Metals, we worked together to ensure that the affected areas, first of all, the water was tested, and in certain areas we found that the pH levels were very high, and we needed to dose the lime. And most of the members of Parliament would attest to the fact that we conducted an operation in all those areas up to Ngabwe area towards Mufumbwe to ensure that Kafue River and other streams that were affected were dosed with lime. In doing that, the idea was to ensure that the acid that had affected the water had to be dissolved, and that was achieved. And as we speak, in terms of pH levels, the levels are under control, meaning that in as far as the acidic solution in the water, that was dealt with. The second and very critical point now is to deal with the possibility of heavy metals in the environment as well as in the water. And what we would do, just advise, is that our people in those areas that are affected should continue operating carefully, and this information has been going on the ground using our district offices. And this is why I've mentioned in the statement that the Sino-Metal company working with Nkana Water are providing water in the surrounding communities using water bowsers. But we continue to encourage our people to operate carefully as we undertake the assessment to ensure that we are well informed in terms of what extent of pollution in terms of heavy metals and what kind of heavy metals could be in there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Member for Iteji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for the responses given. And we bear with the people of Karurushi for these sad incidents. Now, Minister, normally when the foreign investors, particularly in the mining sector, are involved in such incidences, there is a section of society that thinks Zema has always been lenient to these foreign investors, and they've not managed to trace these cases to the latter. Now, Minister, I know that a lot of reforms have taken place at Zema, and you are a new ministry that is aimed at addressing these challenges. What assurance are you giving the people of Chambeshi and many other areas that your ministry will address these issues so that the confidence in the public is restored and they feel that your ministry is there to protect their welfare? Thank you.
Before the Honourable Minister comes in, there is an indication for a point of order. Honourable Member for Lunte, what's the point of order?
Madam, I wish to appreciate the opportunity to raise the point of order on the Honourable Minister, who is on the floor of the House. Madam, the Honourable Minister personally called for expression of interest, and you allowed me to ask him a question, seeking the authority he has used to personally call for expression of interest. And he tells me and the nation that he has used Section 29 of the Environmental Protection and Pollution Act. Madam, listen to what Section 29 says. Section 29 says, and I quote, 1, an effluent may be mixed for treatment prior to discharge or for conveying to a common point of discharge. 2, no person shall withdraw water from a watercourse or any other source for the purpose of diluting any effluent to make it acceptable except under a license issued by the Inspectorate. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Let's allow the Honourable Member
is the Honourable Minister in order to mislead me and the nation that Section 29 of the Act gives him power to personally transact in operations of a ministry as opposed to transacting in policy? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Since the Honourable Minister mentioned a particular section, and I don't have access to that act, I'll allow the Minister to give clarification on the response that he gave to the Honourable Member for Lunte. The Honourable Minister for Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I did not mention Section 29. I mentioned the section 107. I was very, very emphatic, very clear. And the expressions of interest are being called for by ZEMA, which is a regulator under my ministry. In the statement, there was nothing personal there, but I was giving a ministerial statement on behalf of the ministry as a minister and as a minister in charge of supervising the regulator ZEMA. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very calm.
So I hope the Honorable Member for Lunte has gotten the explanation. Let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Chitambo had asked a question. I hope the Honorable Minister still... Who is asking now? Oh, sorry, the Honorable Member for Itej. Does the Honorable Minister still remember the question from the Honorable Member for Itej? You may proceed, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I also want to thank the Member of Parliament for Itej for that question. Madam Speaker, he asked a question as to what assurance are we giving that this matter will be followed to the letter. Madam Speaker, I want to confirm that we are working with a number of ministries, including Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, Ministry of Mines, DMMU, under the office of Her Honor, the Vice President, to ensure that this matter is followed to the letter and properly concluded. So I want to assure the Member of Parliament and the people who are following that this matter will be followed to the letter, and I can confirm, Madam Speaker, that we are also engaging very well with the Chinese government through the embassy, the ambassador, and everyone is cooperative. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, my interest is in the people who are affected by this pollution. Madam Speaker, I wanted to know whether an assessment was done, and if this assessment was done, to find out who should be compensated. When are they going to be compensated by the polluter? I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I also want to thank Honorable Member Mutale for that question. Madam Speaker, the partial assessment was done for the purposes of an interim compensation, and this was done by our experts under agriculture and livestock, and this is what will determine the partial compensation or interim compensation which will be effected in the next few days. Thereafter, we'll be awaiting the thorough assessment which will inform us in terms of the extent of the pollution and the level of compensation. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mitete.
Madam Speaker, just on that one. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, you are saying after what has happened in the assessment, there's a partial relief to the affected, and then later, since this is partial, then later a larger amount will be given to those after yet another assessment will be done, be given to the affected people. Is that what you are saying? That what is happening now is just partial and a big chunk will be there, be given to people between government and those doing the mining? Is that what you are saying? That government has that heart? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
In other words, is it you who is to come, or shall we wait for another? The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And if I heard the question from Honorable Mtero clearly, he's asking whether this is just a partial payment and whether there will be another one. Madam Speaker, like I indicated, we did an assessment for the people that lost the crop and that might not be in a position to use the land for agricultural purposes this season. And that assessment is the one which is informing us to ensure that an interim compensation is given to the people. And once the thorough and comprehensive assessment is done, it will inform us whether there will be need to extend the compensation. But I also want to add that in addition to the compensation which will be given in the next few days, once the processes are concluded, there has already been some support that has been going to the affected communities in terms of mealie meal, relish, and some funds to support them. And this is under the principle of polluter pays. So yes, the company that polluted is the one that will pay all these funds in terms of compensation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lufubu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, as we speak, there are people who are still experiencing the effect of that pollution. Specifically in Ngabwe, people fish from Kafua and sell fish to earn money. And that is not happening because the Ministry of Livestock has not allowed them to fish, because your ministry is saying the water is not yet it's not yet worked on for it to allow people to fish. What are you doing, and when are you going to quickly finish this so that people can get back and start fishing as they are waiting for compensation? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I also want to thank the Member of Parliament for Ngabwe for that question. Madam Speaker, like I indicated, we are in the process of investigating the possibility of heavy metals being in the water and the environment. And in a situation where we have high levels of heavy metals in the water, it might also imply that the fish will be consuming some of those heavy metals. So it will be responsible of us as government to rush the process to lift the suspension. And I think this was ably handled by the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock when he responded to the question earlier in the week or sometime last week by the MP for Ngabwe, that at an opportune time, Madam Speaker, we'll be able to inform the nation and this House when we'll lift the suspension to allow people to fish. For now, my appeal is that let us work together, government and the members of Parliament in the affected areas, to discourage people from fishing until such a time that an in-depth investigation is done and the results are known in terms of what is contained in the water. So I just want to appeal to the Member of Parliament that please advise your people to be a bit patient. We are running with this process, and it is in the best interest of your people to ensure that what they are consuming is known. So we sympathize with the fact that this has affected the fisheries business, the fishing business, particularly in your constituency. But we want to assure you that we'll run with the process very quickly to ensure that the results are known, and once the results are known, what action will be taken thereafter. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. There is an indication for a point of order. Honorable Member for Lufubu, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, the Minister, the question was simple. It was talking about the time frame. Is the Minister in order? Because if there is something that is being done, then it is known. And if there is something that is being done, it has got a time frame. Why can't he give us the time frame to when that process will finish? Madam Speaker, is it in order not to give us the time frame and just leave the statement so vague that we don't know when it will end? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Question.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member is trying to ask a question through the back door. For me, Honorable Member, I think the Honorable Minister is in order, because this idea of making sure that the heavy metals are sorted and dealt with takes time. It's a process that needs to be verified once in a while. And I don't believe that the Honorable Member for Lufubu would like to start to encourage the members that he is representing to start fishing in the river that is infected with chemicals, because then you'll be killing the people you are representing. Who is going to vote for you if you kill them? So please allow the process. Okay, that was on a lighter note, but please allow the process to be completed so that when the people are either eating or drinking the water or farming, they are doing it from a safe and clean environment. So the Honorable Minister is in order. What you can do, Honorable Member for Lufubu and other members that have an interest, please continue engaging the ministers so that you see how best this issue can be dealt with within the desired time frames. So let's make progress. Motion, the Honorable Member for Itejitation.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopt the report of the Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on 9th July 2025.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, the motion is seconded.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Bangweulu. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs on the report of the Auditor General on the construction, rehabilitation and maintenance of urban and peri-urban drainages 2020 to 2023 for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th July 2025. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Iteji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Orders 207 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders of 2024, the committee was mandated to consider the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the construction, rehabilitation, and the maintenance of urban and peri-urban drainages between 2020 to 2023 for the 4th session of the 13th National Assembly. I have no doubt that honorable members, they have had the opportunity to read the committee's report, and therefore I will restrict my comments to the key findings that came from this audit. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development is responsible for construction, maintenance, and rehabilitation of drainage structures in urban and peri-urban areas in Zambia. pursuant to the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019, the ministry had delegated this responsibility to local authorities. Madam Speaker, the construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of drainages is essential in ensuring the flow of water and in turn prevention of waterborne diseases and flooding. However, most parts of this country continue to experience perennial floods as the construction of drainage infrastructure has for a long time been neglected, while existing ones are neither rehabilitated nor maintained. Madam, to address the challenges of property destruction, proliferation of waterborne diseases such as seasonal cholera outbreaks in the country, and the disruption of livelihood owing to buildings getting flooded and roads becoming impassable, there is need to prioritize development planning and control across the country. In this vein, the committee recommends that local government authorities are compelled to incorporate storm drainage master plans in their integrated development plans. Madam Speaker, the report further reveals that the planning mandate of local authorities covers only 6% of the country, with the remaining 94% being customary land. This poses a challenge for local authorities to undertake stormwater management planning in areas which are under customary land. This has led to challenges in addressing informal development, poor road networks, and absence of storm drains. In this regard, the committee urges the ministry to engage the traditional leadership on the urgent need to actualize planning agreements across the country. Madam Speaker, while funding remains a hindrance to the construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of drainages, a lack of a well-organized waste management system continues to also contribute to the indiscriminate disposal of waste in our communities. In this regard, the Ministry of Local Government should review the strategies and the measures put in place to effectively implement the Keep Zambia Clean and the Green campaign. Madam Speaker, as I end, let me thank you and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and the support rendered to the committee throughout its deliberations. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Bangweulu.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity accorded to me to second this progressive motion, which is under consideration. I would also like to thank the chairperson of the committee in the able manner that he managed our deliberations. I would also want to extend the gratitude to the honourable members who made themselves available the time when we engaged witnesses. Madam Speaker, I will restrict myself to just a few comments on the effectiveness of the strategies that the local government ministry and rural development is putting in place in order to ensure that drainages are constructed, they are rehabilitated, and also maintained. I want to just identify one weakness amongst the local authorities whose mandate it is to rehabilitate, construct, and maintain these drainages. One area I would like to comment on, Madam Speaker, is on the lack of initiative and proactiveness by local authorities to ensure that this is being done. It is a fact that this responsibility is for the local government to do so, but they barely actually undertake such activities to ensure that our roads are protected. That's why, Madam Speaker, the committee is strongly urging the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to ensure that these local authorities do include the maintenance and management of drainages in their annual activity plan so that we see our roads last longer. Another point I would like to talk about, Madam Speaker, is retention of requisite staff within local authorities. It is very difficult for local authorities to rehabilitate, maintain, and also construct drainages in urban areas and peri-urban areas because of lack of requisite staff in the local authorities, such as engineers. When engineers are engaged or employed in local authorities, they usually migrate, they don't stay long because of poor salaries. They are not remunerated well. So this committee would like once more to urge the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to ensure that engineers that are engaged in local authorities are salaried properly so that they are motivated in order to stop the migration of these engineers that are employed in local authorities. And the last comment, Madam Speaker, is the integration, or rather the inclusion of stormwater drainage strategies in the integrated development plan. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the ministry to having introduced, or rather made sure that all local authorities in this country come up with integrated development plans, which is a plus on how they are planning to develop individual districts in this country. But unfortunately, the aspect of stormwater is usually not catered for in this integrated development plan. So the committee would like to encourage the minister to call upon the minister to ensure that going forward, the strategies on how stormwater is going to be harnessed is included in this integrated development plan, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to second the motion and I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable, any further debate? The Honorable Member for Kabwata.
I am grateful, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to support the report that has been ably moved by the Member of Parliament for the stage and seconded by the MP for Bangweolo. Madam Speaker, the issues of drainages in our country is something that we cannot shy away from talking about them. If you look at our communities, especially, I will restrict myself to Lusaka province. If you look at some of the drainage systems that we have in Lusaka province, for instance, in Kamwala trading area, the drainages were constructed way back probably 50 years ago, and these are the same drainages that we keep on relying on. Whenever we receive heavy rains, it's like we always experience a mini Kuomboka ceremony, Madam Speaker, in our communities. The reason being is because of lack of proper drainages. Some of these drainages, they have outlived. Some of them were actually built underneath. So we feel that the drainages that were constructed way back in 1970s, I think these drainages need to be redesigned so that we can have water flowing as it is right now, Madam Speaker. If you see the water flow, the way the drainages are constructed in our communities, they tend to gather water and water flows actually to go anywhere. When you want to construct drainages, you need to first understand how the slope is. You need to understand also the type of soil that is actually the type of soil that where you're going to construct the drainage. Also, you need to understand the outlet where water is going to go. But as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the way most of the drainages are constructed in Lusaka, they do not have an outlet where water can easily go. As a result, water collects within the city, within the CBD. Look at Kulima Tower. For instance, Kulima Tower, during the rainy season, it's another eyesore, Madam Speaker. You can't like the place because it gets flooded because of poor
drainage, Madam Speaker. It is for this reason that I feel that the Lusaka City Council, the main local authority that is designed to look after this drainage system in Lusaka, they need to move on, to come on board and ensure that proper drainages are constructed in our communities, including the central business. We are grateful with what the National Service did actually under the DMMU in Kawata. We never experienced a serious flooding for the last rainy season. And the other rainy season also, it's because of the proper drainage system that have been maintained. But some of the drainage systems that have been built, they do not have the outlet where they can actually let water pass and drain in the main Bombay drainage. Madam Speaker, also let me talk about the issue of maintaining some of these drainages. We have a huge challenge in our communities, and this challenge in our communities that we are facing is the issue of residents, citizens themselves, who are busy now dumping garbage in drainages. For instance, you go to the Bombay drainage, you find that the Bombay drainage is full of garbage that has been dumped by our own citizens within our communities. And I believe that this is a serious issue that we need to look at. Lusaka City Council, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the rainy season, and when we start getting the floods, that's when you start wanting to move on site. I think it's high time that the engineering department, together with the city planners, they ensure that some of these drainages are cleaned. Look, the government has given us what you call the cash for work, which is actually coming through what development committees. Let's ensure that we utilize these opportunities that government has given us to clean up some of these drainages. Madam Speaker, also I think the other issue that we've seen is that Lusaka City Council, as a local authority, they need to up their game. For instance, the planning department. These are people who are basically, most of them sitting in the offices. They are not going out to check on how people are constructing drainages on waterways. They're not going to see how people are constructing their offices and shops right on waterways. Today, if you go to Kamala South, you see some challenges that we are facing, some challenges that we continue to face year in, year out in the rainy season. It's because of individuals who have constructed some of these drainages on the roadside, or waterways, you call them waterways. Others, yes, Madam Speaker, again, it's the issue of responsibilities within our communities. Most communities where we are coming from, Madam Speaker, they're not responsible. These are people that you see that getting garbage and decide to go and dump it right in drainages. As a result of that, you find drainages are blocked. Madam Speaker, let me also talk about the engineering department. I think there's need also to capacitate, give them capacity to start monitoring and supervising some of these drainages that have been constructed, especially under CDF, because we have seen that most of the drainages that have been constructed, find an engineer going there maybe 2, 3, 4 times. He leaves the project. He leaves it to the contractor. When we allow such kind of laissez-faire, you find that the workmanship of the project that we're going to end up having, it will be of poor quality. So let's ensure that the monitoring and supervision is done by the qualified engineers from our local authorities, Madam Speaker. Let me also talk about the issue of funding, Madam Speaker. Yes, I do understand that funding is a challenge, especially when it comes to constructing some of these drainages. Madam Speaker, I call upon the Minister of Local Government to ensure that funding is provided, to ensure that we construct proper drainage and we end up cleaning some of these drainages that have been blocked by garbage that is being dumped in these drainages. Madam Speaker, with these few comments, I want to support the report that is actually before the floor of the House. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kanyama.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity of giving me to add a voice. Madam Speaker, talking about drainages, it would be unfortunate if Kanyama people don't add a voice, because I believe they are the most affected, people. Madam Speaker, I just want to look at the observations and recommendations that are coming out from the report. I am aware that the construction, rehabilitation, and the general maintenance of these drainages is mandated to local authorities. And they do not work in isolation. We have got NCC, we've got RDA, we have AIZ. Now, looking at the way things are happening, I don't think there is a coordination among these institutions. Madam Speaker, I just want to look at what is actually there. If you look at certain drainages that are being, constructed by contractors, you realize that it's like you just gather some people, put them together, then give them hose. Can you dig here? Then you call that a drainage. And that, Madam Speaker, because of that outcome, motivates our children to start dumping the garbage into those channels. I call them channels, not drainages. I've got an example that I can give, like in my constituency. Madam Speaker, we're talking about funding, which of course is cardinal if you want to achieve, whatever needs to be achieved. However, there's a saying which goes like, you need for people to be happy with you or to have confidence in you, you need to utilize the small funds that you are given for them to give you more funds. Madam Speaker, coming back again to CDF, we are proposing certain amounts to go towards the drainages. But what is coming is, it's those shallow, pits that, at the end of the day, children who want to look at them as, places to dump in the garbage. Madam Speaker, the question is, funding, yes, is given. Now, does it land on a safer or safeguarded institution that will efficiently utilize those funds? Madam Speaker, personally, I would say, yes, let us fund this like yesterday. But do we have engineers that are going to utilize those funds into what is required? Madam Speaker, the answer is no. We don't have. They may be there, but we don't see their weights. So, Madam Speaker, for me, what I would urge the local authorities to utilize the small funds that are coming from CDF, let them prove to us that, indeed, if you funded us with these huge sums of money, look at what we have done, then all of us will stand. Madam Speaker, I don't believe that funding is not there. Funding is there, Madam Speaker. But now, the local authorities, do they try and reserve some funds within what they are given to go towards the drainages? Madam Speaker, that is not done. So for us to be propagating that, yes, let us fund them, we need to ensure that there are some safeness that have been put to ensure that those funds are used prudently. What is happening, Madam Speaker, I just want to be as factual as possible. I am on the ground. Madam Speaker, what is happening currently is, when these funds are propagated, you realize that the same as those of us who are at the top, when we investigate, you realize that we are the ones who are doing those jobs, which will make it difficult for me to go and supervise or negate whatever these people are doing. Why? Because it's me who is doing that. So if only such safeguards are put in place, Madam Speaker, I think funding of this, it will be prudent. Madam Speaker, finally, let there be coordination in these institutions so that we don't expect floods that we've been experiencing previously, this year, in places like Kanyama. And I don't want to see motivating the president to come and grace those. Let him, he's too busy. Once he gives the directive, let that directive be followed. Failure to which, Madam Speaker, we are not heading anywhere. Madam Speaker, I submit.
The Honourable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I'm grateful to be given the opportunity to add a word on this committee's report. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the mover of the motion and also the seconder and the other debaters that have added their voice. Madam Speaker, let me also thank the committee for the wisdom to think about this very important issue that has been affecting our country in and out almost every year from the time that we got independence. Madam Speaker, we are above 60 now as a country, and we're still talking about floods and perennial diseases such as cholera. Even simple diseases like malaria do come in because we don't care much about our drainages. Madam Speaker, a drainage becomes a subject matter when we have a flood in this country. It is not something that we pay attention to. And it pains me so much, Madam Speaker, to discover that actually, through your wisdom, Madam Speaker, you do send members of parliament outside this country to go and learn how other councils do things. An example is given for a country called Rwanda. If you go to that country, Madam Speaker, if you're in Kigali, their capital town, it will be sheer lucky to even see a bubblegum thrown, even a toothpick, on the ground anywhere. The kind of mentality that they have as a people and how much they care about the environment is very amazing. And Madam Speaker, we need what I might call a mindset change in order to achieve what we're aiming at. Because in certain countries, they've set a day that this day is just meant for cleaning the environment and blocking drainages and doing extra work to ensure that the environment is maintained and drainages in particular are taken care of. In this country, you would find that a drainage is covered, well covered, with pavers on top. Some people would first start by stealing the pavers which are on top, break them and get away with the steel. Others, they open it up and make it a dumping site. Madam Speaker, it's not human resource that we lack in this country. It is not the money that we're lacking in this country. And it is not the powers that be that we lack in this country. But it's just the mindset. And our culture has been tilted to an issue that I might call reactive and not being proactive. We always want to react to situations once they affect us. Provided there are no floods, there are no diseases around for now, we are okay. Madam Speaker, even if we add these things in the integrated reports or the whatever document that might be called at the council level, provided there's no action, nothing will change. We need an action-oriented people to live in this country. We need a mindset that shall drive our future generation into another phase, Madam Speaker. At some point, when we were growing in this country, at our schools, we were told to pick all the papers that you find on your way. At some point, we are told how to sweep. Children of nowadays, Madam Speaker, if they go to school, they don't want to do all these things. Somebody must do it for them. If you go outside here, Madam Speaker, and just check on our drainage near to this parliament, Madam Speaker, what I'm just talking about is what you are going to meet, just at the bus station here. A storm drain was done. Look what the people are selling by the road there. They are sweeping and throwing it down there. We don't need somebody to come and remind them. It should just be born on their minds that this is very wrong. A wrong, Madam Speaker, if it is not acted upon, becomes a danger to a nation. Madam Speaker, I like the report of your committee when it talks about rural areas. In most rural areas today, most councils, if you visit them, they are all preoccupied by trying to achieve the CDF goals. They have forgotten about their other duties and services that they should be providing as a local authority to that area. And Madam Speaker, very few rural areas you are going to find these storm drains made, and also the unplanned, Madam Speaker, construction of buildings. It is a nightmare. People just wake up, and again, our governments have come to embrace this. As long as a community is growing, they will say legalize it. Without knowing the future consequences of these buildings that we are trying to come up with, the unplanned roads that people come up with, that they block the drainages and they block what I might call the storm management. If these things are not taken care of, Madam Speaker, we shall be singing like a song, and I would urge the Ministry of Local Government to take this report with the seriousness that it deserves. Because, Madam Speaker, I know that we spent colossal sums of money as a nation to try and avert the realities of floods in this country. I was watching on TV, and I saw what floods could do to some nation in Europe. Today, they are spending a lot of money. And, Madam Speaker, we shouldn't be a nation that should go begging out there to come and clean our own dirty because we neglected that. Let's work hard, Madam Speaker, to ensure that our future generation might come to change what is happening today. There is no drainage that we might call it has outlived its time. All drainages, Madam Speaker, can be worked on and can be brought to life. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, clearly the issue of drainage as presented by your committee based on the findings of the Auditor General's audit clearly demonstrates that as a nation we need to diagnose the root cause of the challenges to do with our drainage system. Many have argued, Madam Speaker, that cities' appearance denotes their financing capabilities. If you look at our towns, including peri-urban areas, most of them are not well planned. Even areas which are well planned, there is no enforcement of the planning regulations. Madam Speaker, I'll give you a very simple example. Kamala South. Those of us who have been in Lusaka for a longer time, Kamala South was planned to be a medium density area. Go there now. It has been turned into a high density area. And if we are not careful, the same will be replicated even in Kablonga. Because the residents or the owners of the properties as their income graduates, they tend to move into far-flung areas. You will agree with me, Madam Speaker, that probably if I'm to check where the Vice President stays, it should be 15 kilometers away from the city. But that property that she has in Kablonga should want to put as many mansionettes as possible. Against, it's just an example, Madam Speaker, against the planning guidelines.
I think that example, we are not allowed to debate ourselves. I will order that part of the debate should be struck off from the Hansard. The Honourable Member can, before you continue, Honourable Member for Lunte, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, I realize that our Honourable Vice President has got no defense in UPND. But is this guy in order? Is he in order to abuse our mother in this fashion, Madam? When he knows that our standing orders do not allow any member to debate other members. For that matter, I honor the Vice President, even if the issue is that the Madam has no defense there. Is he in order, Madam Speaker?
Order. Honourable Member for Lunte, you are not helping the situation because I've already guided, but now the language, the pointing, and also the allegations, I think the Honourable Member for Lunte is out of order himself, having come after I had guided. So may the Honourable Member for Chama South continue. Chairman South, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well guided. Through you, Madam Speaker, there is need for Honourable Member for Lunte to calm down. He seems to be so bitter and angry. Madam Speaker, what I was trying to say is that there is need for us as a nation to enforce planning regulations. If you check most of these areas where we are having drainage challenges, it's because of illegal encroachments. People have built on drainage systems. I'll give an example, Madam Speaker. Lumumba Mungwa Road Junction. It is now that I realize that on the left side or the right side as you go to Mumbwa, there was a drainage. But the entire area, Madam Speaker, had structures built on them.
Order. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. You're tuned into Parliament Television. Business will resume at 17 hours. And on the floor of the House was Chama South Member of Parliament, Mr. Mungandu, debating a motion that has been moved by Mr. Twambo Mtwinta, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs on the report of the Auditor General on the construction, rehabilitation and maintenance of urban and peri-urban drainages 2020 to 2023 for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th July 2025.
It's also worth mentioning that the same motion was seconded by Mr. Kasangwe, who is a Bangweulu Member of Parliament. And when business resumed at 14:30, Madam Speaker did make three announcements. I recognize in the presence gallery, pupils and teachers from Angela's Primary School from Ndola District, Rainbow School Limited, and Wandi School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly, Madam Speaker did warmly welcome the guests to the Assembly.
Of course, we did have two ministerial statements that were delivered on the floor of the House. The first one did come from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security on the loss of lives following a clash between illegal miners and police at Kwikonge Gold Mine in Mufumbwe District.
The other ministerial statement came from the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, and this one was on the heavy metal poisoning of the Mwiimbi stream and Kafue River in the Copperbelt province. And we did see quite a number of members of Parliament seeking clarity from the two ministers by asking follow-up questions.
All right, so more business continues. Remember, we have some bills that will be considered at second reading and third reading stage. Just now, we equally take a break and do stay tuned.